Why a society should be reproductively healthy? What is it going to add for the society? So it is going to prevent the spread of various sexually transmitted diseases, STDs. Prevention of conception is called contraception, and the methods adopted to prevent the conception are called contraceptive methods. What does STD stand for? Sexually transmitted diseases. What is STI? Sexually transmitted infections. Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another revision class of 2nd PUC chapter 4 called Reproductive Health. Myself, Bishobha Rani, faculty in biology from Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. So in this particular revision class of chapter 4 called Reproductive Health, I'll be discussing about as to what is reproductive health and what are the problems and strategies that we come across to maintain healthy society. All that and the type of questions that are going to be asked from this particular chapter I'm going to discuss in this particular revision class. Moving on to the chapter weightage. So what is the weightage of marks for this particular chapter, chapter 4 called Reproductive Health? So the weightage of marks is 5 marks. So you will get 5 marker question, that is one question. But as I keep telling you all, sometimes the board question paper may have split questions for 5 mark question. It might be 2 plus 2 plus 1 or 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. So like that. So totally they might ask 5 marker question, or sometimes they may ask split questions for 5 marker question only, like for example 2 plus 2 plus 1 or 3 plus 2 that is equal to 5. So this is how the questions will be asked in the board exam pertaining to this chapter called Reproductive Health, and the weightage of marks is 5 marks. So moving on to a brief introduction of this particular chapter called Reproductive Health. So what is reproductive health? According to the World Health Organization, reproductive health, I think all of us know health is wealth. So what do you mean by reproductive health? So reproductive health means total well-being. So what do you mean by total well-being? In all aspects, hence the name reproductive health. So maintaining a good health in terms of reproduction, we use the word called reproductive health. So well-being in all aspects of reproduction, that is physical, emotional, behavioral and social. Hence it is called reproductive health. So what is the correct definition of reproductive health according to the World Health Organization, that is WHO? That is, reproductive health means a total well-being in all aspects of reproduction, that is physical, emotional, behavioral and social well-being. Now, reproductive health. What are the problems that we are going to face in terms of maintaining a reproductively healthy society? What will be the strategies that we need to implement to maintain a healthy society? All that we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. So one such very important problem is population explosion. We all know that the population is increasing day by day, and particularly the younger age group is increasing. So in terms of maintaining a good reproductive health is a challenge for the society. So all that we need to concentrate in terms of reproduction. Then birth control. So very important is, so in order to minimize the population, so the very important is, or to avoid unwanted pregnancies, we need to implement the birth control methods, which we also use the word called contraceptive methods. So what are the birth control methods? We have to use the scientific methods of birth control, or you can also use the word called fertility control methods. Then reproductive health in society. Why a society should be reproductively healthy? What is it going to add for the society? So it is going to prevent the spread of various sexually transmitted diseases, STDs. Very, very important. So these are the common diseases that are going to spread through reproduction, through sexual contact. Hence, it is very, very important that the reproductive and knowing about the sexual organs, knowing about the reproductive organs, all this is going to help us to avoid the spread of sexually transmitted diseases and impart the ability to reproduce offspring having better survival rates. So for example, like the age of marriage, for example, in female it is 18 years and in male it is 21 years. So if it is, I think all of us know now the government has banned child marriage. So a female will not be physically fit enough to carry a baby. So what will be the after effects if at all she becomes pregnant? So all that. So the offspring that are born to such children, such females who have not crossed 18 years of age, so definitely the offsprings will not have a better survival rate. So they should have the knowledge about the age of marriage, at what age they have to get married, so all that, and they should also know about the reproductive organs, etc. All that will help them to have better offsprings which will have a better survival rates. Then it also helps in maintaining the population size and avoiding unwanted pregnancies. So when they implement the better scientific methods of birth control or fertility control methods, then definitely they can avoid unwanted pregnancies and avoid abortions or MTPs, right? So all this is very important in this particular chapter called reproductive health. Now, so in this particular chapter, as I said, we are going to study about the definition of reproductive health. As I already said, it is total well-being in all aspects of reproduction, that is physical, emotional, behavioral and social well-being. Then mention the problems in human reproduction health and the strategies to build a reproductively healthy society. That is, for example, we have to give proper sex education in schools and colleges, make them aware, create awareness about the hygienic practices of sexual intercourse. All that should be taught to the younger generation in schools and colleges. So sex education is very, very important, so that they'll come to know about all that, and they are also responsible for maintaining a reproductively healthy society. And describe amniocentesis. So you'll be describing amniocentesis. It is a method to identify the sex of a developing fetus, its usefulness, then its misuse, and the reasons for its statutory ban. Why it is banned? To avoid unwanted female feticides, because if at all they come to know that the fetus that they are carrying is a female, they get it aborted. Because as we know that in the present scenario, having a girl child, it means it's a great responsibility for the parents. So many people will try to get it aborted when they get to know that it is a female child based on the amniocentesis. So that is the reason why the government has strictly banned, that is amniocentesis. But sometimes, as I said, it is very useful in detecting some genetic disorders when a female is carrying the fetus. So that is going to help, but nowadays it is being misused. Then describe the natural methods of birth control. So there are actually, when we classify the birth control methods, we classify them into temporary methods and permanent methods. So in that temporary method, one such method is natural method of birth control, which will not have any side effects on the individual who implement it. So like for example, it might be lactational amenorrhea, right, coitus interruptus, all that are the natural methods of birth control. Then describe the various methods of birth control available for human males and females. As I said, like temporary method, we come across the natural method, barrier method, then use of IUDs, etc. And in permanent method, we come across two very important methods, that is vasectomy in males and tubectomy in females. So explain the causative organisms of various STDs, that is sexually transmitted diseases. It might be like genital warts or genital herpes, or it might be gonorrhea, syphilis. All those are the sexually transmitted diseases. So you will get to know about the causative organisms. It might be a bacteria or it might be a fungi, which can be avoided. So the knowledge will definitely help a person to avoid the sexually transmitted diseases. Explain the causes of infertility. So there are various reasons for female or a male to be infertile. So what is infertility? Inability to bear a child or incapability to have a child. So infertility, there are various reasons, may it be defects in male, or maybe there might be defects in female. So at the time where couple are not able to have a child or not able to bear a child, then definitely ARTs will come into picture, and they are going to help the infertile couples to bear a child. What are ARTs? Assisted reproductive technologies like GIFT, GIFTO, ICSI. All these are the ARTs which is going to come to the rescue of the childless couple and help them to bear a child. Then, so let us discuss about the 1 marker question. Hope you are through with the synopsis part, what I have explained in this particular session. So let us discuss, as I said, though it is a 5 marker question, but as I said, split questions of 2 plus 2 plus 1 might be given, or 3 plus 2 might be given. So just let us discuss about a few questions which might appear for 1 marker question, maybe for the split questions like 1 marker question. What is reproductive health according to WHO? As I already said, according to the World Health Organization, reproductive health means what? Total well-being in all aspects of reproduction, that is physical, emotional and social, is called reproductive health. So it is a very, very important term to understand, which might appear in your board exam. So what is reproductive health according to WHO? I expand WHO, World Health Organization. Next, name the oral contraceptive developed by CDRI, Lucknow. So, oral contraceptive is another temporary method of birth control or fertility control where the oral pills are taken. So, one such pill which was developed by CDRI is called Saheli. So, Saheli is the oral contraceptive developed by CDRI, Lucknow. So, CDRI, expand CDRI, Central for Drug and Research Institute. Then, when was family planning program initiated at the national level? It was initiated at 1951. So what is family planning program also, they might ask. So what is planning for a small family? By implementing scientific birth control methods or fertility control methods is called family planning for a small family. Planning for a small family, how do we plan? By applying the scientific methods of birth control or fertility control, which was initiated by the Government of India in 1951. Then, define lactational amenorrhea. So, lactational amenorrhea is one such temporary method of birth control. What is lactational? The very word itself will tell you. Lactational means when a female bears a child, she'll be in her lactation period. So during that lactation period, she will not have her menstrual cycle. So the absence of menstrual cycle. So it is an absence of menstruation, and the fact that the menstrual cycle does not occur. So during the period of intense lactation, so when they have the sexual intercourse during that particular period, they will not have children. You can avoid pregnancy. So that is called lactational amenorrhea. Then what is conception and contraceptive methods? So these two are the terms which are very, very important. Conception means what? Prevention of conception is called contraception. And the methods adopted to prevent the conception are called contraceptive methods. So what is conception? Conception is nothing but becoming pregnant. Conceiving, we use the word called conceive, is called conception. So becoming pregnant or conceiving is called conception. But to avoid the unwanted pregnancy or conceivement, the methods that are implemented, you call it as contraceptive methods. So prevention of conception is called contraception, and the methods adopted to prevent conception are called contraceptive methods. So what is conception? Pregnancy or conceivement. So to avoid that, we need to implement some contraceptive methods or birth control methods, may it be temporary or permanent. Next, what is infertility? As I said, infertility may be in males or it might be in females. So what is infertility? Infertility is what? Inability to conceive or to produce a child is called, produce a child means to become pregnant is called infertility. So what is infertility? Incapability of a couple to bear a child. It might be a male or a female. Next, for 1 marker question, they might ask like expand. As I said, abbreviation, expand. So as I already said, particularly for the infertile couples, ARTs come to their assistance. So in bearing a child. So what are the ARTs? So I have just discussed some of the ARTs. Like what is ART? The very word itself, expand ART, if they ask, assisted reproductive technology. So among them, STD, what is this STD? Sexually transmitted diseases. Then RTI, you can also call it as STD or STI. What does STD stand for? Sexually transmitted diseases. What is STI? Sexually transmitted infections. Sexually transmitted infections. So STD, STI. STD means sexually transmitted diseases. STI means sexually transmitted infections. Then RTI, reproductive tract infections. Then RCH, reproductive and child health care. Then MTP, medical termination of pregnancy. Then IVF, ET, in vitro fertilization and embryo transfer. We call this also as a test tube baby method, right? GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer. GIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer. ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Then AI, artificial insemination. So I'll repeat once again. ART stands for what? Assisted reproductive technology. STD, sexually transmitted diseases. STI, sexually transmitted infections. RTI, reproductive tract infections. RCH, reproductive and child health care. MTP, medical termination of pregnancy. Then IVF, ET, in vitro fertilization and embryo transfer, which is also called as test tube baby. GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer. GIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer. ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. AI, artificial insemination. Next, define contraception. Write 4 characters of an ideal contraceptive. So what is contraception? I already told. Conception or contraception. Prevention of conception is called contraception. Prevention of becoming pregnant is called contraception. And the methods that are implemented to avoid contraception or conception is called as contraceptive methods. So what are the 4 characters of an ideal? This is like a very commonly asked question in the PU board question paper. What are the ideal characters of a contraceptive? So it should be user friendly, then easily available, it should have less side effects, it should be more effective and reversible with no or less side effects for the user. So all these are very, very important things which usually they'll ask in the examination. So what are the 4 characters of an ideal contraceptive? User friendly, it should be user friendly, easily available. For example, like in all the pharmacy shops or medical shops, it is easily available so that they can avoid unwanted pregnancy. Then effective and reversible, then with no or less side effect. Then moving on to the 5-marker question. What is MTP, when it is advised, and why it is legally banned in our country? Very, very important concept from examination point of view. So what is MTP? Medical termination of pregnancy. It is called medical termination of pregnancy. Now, when it is advised, so the MTP are considerably safe during the first trimester, up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. After that, if they go for MTP, it is a risk for the mother. So that is the reason why the government has implemented MTP only during the first trimester, that is up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. Thereon, after that, if at all a female goes for a MTP, then it is a high risk for her life. Then second trimester abortions are much riskier. As I said, if at all a female goes for her second trimester, that is almost completing 6 months, within 6 months, then definitely it is a risk for her life. Then the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Act was done. Why? As we know that this MTP is misused by most of the younger generations. So in order to, or not only younger generation, by many people, so in order to avoid that, the government has come up with the Amendment Act in 2017 called the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Act in 2017, which was enacted by the Government of India with the intention of reducing the incidence of illegal abortion and consequent maternal mortality and morbidity. Then, for 5-marker question, we'll come across, name some important STDs and their causative agents. So already I have discussed that sexually transmitted diseases are very common. If at all a male or a female does not follow sexual hygienic practices, so definitely they will get infected with sexually transmitted diseases like the following. So what are the name of the STDs and the causative? STD stands for sexually transmitted diseases. Now syphilis, the causative organism is Treponema pallidum, a bacteria. Then gonorrhea, that is Neisseria gonorrhea, which is a bacterium. Then chlamydiasis, Chlamydia trachomatis, that is a bacterium. Then trichomoniasis by Trichomonas vaginalis, a protozoan. Then AIDS, all of us know, AIDS is carried by human immunodeficiency virus, that is HIV virus. Then hepatitis B by hepatitis B virus. Then genital herpes by herpes simplex virus. So all these are the STDs. These are all the STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, and these are all the causative organisms. The organism which cause these following STDs. So syphilis, treponema pallidum, gonorrhea, Neisseria gonorrhea, chlamydiasis, chlamydia trichomatis, trichomoniasis, trichomonas vaginalis, AIDS, human immunodeficiency virus, then hepatitis B virus, genital herpes, herpes simplex virus. Now, let us recap what all we have studied in this particular chapter 4 of your second PUC syllabus from examination point of view. Let us study all that with a flow chart. So, methods of birth control. Already I discussed that family planning was initiated in 1951. What is family planning? Planning for a small family by implementing scientific methods of birth control. So, what are the methods of birth control? So, here we can, as I said, like we have the natural methods. We classify them into what? That is temporary and natural methods. So, temporary methods are like the natural method. Natural methods are like the following: periodic abstinence, withdrawal, that is coitus interruptus, lactational amenorrhea. All these are called as natural methods. So, it will have less side effects, and all these are natural methods of avoiding unwanted pregnancy. Barrier methods like using diaphragm, cervical caps, walls, using condoms, then spermicidal cream. Then IUDs, we have this, that is non-medicated like lips loop. Then we have copper releasing like copper T, then copper 7, multi-load 375. Injectables, we have injectables and implants. So when we come across the permanent methods, the permanent methods like the surgical method like tubectomy. Tubectomy is a surgical method or a permanent method which is done in females, where the fallopian tube is cut and tied. Whereas in vasectomy, which is done in males, the vas deferens is cut and tied. So they are called permanent methods. These are all called temporary methods. That is natural method, barrier method, use of IUDs are temporary methods of birth control. Then even injectables and implants come under temporary method. So permanent methods are the two very important surgical methods, that is called tubectomy in case of female and vasectomy in case of males. Then ARTs, already I discussed about ARTs. What are ART? Assisted reproductive technology. Assisted reproductive technology, ARTs, which will come to the help of the infertile couples who are unable to bear a child. So what are they? Test tube baby program. Already I discussed about it. That is IVF-ET. IVF-ET, that is in vitro fertilization and embryo transfer. Gamete intrafallopian transfer, that is GIFT. ICSI, that is intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Artificial insemination, that is AI. Then we have IVF in vitro fertilization embryo transfer, that is test tube baby. Then GIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer. Then IUT, intrauterine transfer. All these are the ARTs, assisted reproductive technologies, which come to the help of the infertile couples to bear a child. Then we have methods of birth control. Already I discussed about this. Natural method, periodic abstinence, coitus interruptus, lactational amenorrhea. That is barrier method. We have chemicals like spermicides. Then we have condoms, cervical caps, walls and diaphragms. Injectables we have. Then we have IUDs, implants. Then we have hormonal injections. We have copper releasing IUDs, hormone releasing IUDs, non-medicated IUDs, surgical. Then oral pills we have. Already I discussed about Saheli, oral pill which was developed by CDRA, Central Drug and Research Institute. Then the fine permanent methods of birth control, that is vasectomy in case of male and tubectomy in case of females. Then we have the assisted reproductive tract, IVF, ICSI, GIFT, all this I have already explained. IUDs, GIFT, that is gamete intrafallopian transfer. AI, artificial insemination, in vitro, all these are the ARTs. So this chapter, as I said in the beginning, it has a weightage of 5 marks, but it is a very, very important chapter, and the concepts what you study is very useful. Thank you.